Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Hare Krishna dear devotees, Tanvat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada. So we'll start with our prayer, with Mangalacharan and then prayers. Om Jnanatimrandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Okay, so this week on the auspicious occasion of Janmashtami, we are going to sing Chorashtakam, praying to Shri Krishna to remove all our anarthas in our heart, because he is the foremost of thieves. So this is a wonderful prayer written by Shri. I would like to sing today. So 1 second. Okay.
Hare Krishna. Braje prasedham navneetachoram gopangananam chadukulechoram anekajanmarjita papachoram choragraganyam purusham namami Shriradhikaya hridayasya choram navabudha shamalakanti choram Padashritanam च समस्तचोरं चोराग्रगण्यं पुरुषं नमामि अकिञ्चनीकृत्य पादाश्रितं य करोति भिक्षुं पथिकेन हीनं केनाप्यहो भीषणाचोर ईदृक् दृष्टश्रुतो वा न जगत्त्रयेऽपि तदीयनामापि हृद्यस्य शेषां गिरिप्रसारानपि पापराशिम् आश्चर्यरूपो ननु चोर ईदृग् दृष्टश्रुतो वा न माया कदापि धनं च मानं च तथेन्द्रियाणि प्राणांश्च हृत्वा मम सर्वम् एव बालस्य कुत्र धृतोऽत्यचोर त्वं भक्तिदाम्नासि माया निरुद्ध छिनन्सि घोरं यमापाशबन्धं भिनन्सि भीमं भवपाशबन्धं छिनन्सि सर्वस्य समस्तबन्धं नैवात्मनो भक्तकृतं तु बन्धम् मन्मानसा तामसारासि घोरे कारागृहे दुःखमाये निबद्ध लाभस्य हे चोर हरे चिराय स्वचोरदोषोचितम् एव दण्डम् करागृहे वस सदा हृदये मदीये मद्भक्तिपाशदृढबन्धननिश्चलासन् त्वं कृष्ण हे प्रलयकोटिसतान्तरेऽपि सर्वस्य चोराहृदयं नाहि मोचयामि। श्री बिल्वमंगल ठाकुर की जय। श्री चौराष्टकम की जय। हरे कृष्णा।
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Does anybody would like to read the translation of this wonderful bhajan?
I want to read Prabhuji.
Yes, Sati Mataji, please.
Translation. I offer my respectful obeisances to the foremost of thieves, who is famous in Braj as Butter Thief, and he who steals the gopis' clothes, and who, for those who take shelter of him, steals the sins which have accrued over many lifetimes. I offer my respectful obeisances to the foremost of thieves, who steals Srimati Radharani's heart, who steals the dark luster of a fresh rain cloud, and who steals all the sins and sufferings of those who take shelter of his feet. He turns his surrendered devotees into paupers and wandering homeless beggar. Alas, such a fearsome thief has never been seen or heard of in all the three worlds. Mere utterance of his name purges one of a mountain of sins. Such an astonishingly wonderful thief I have never seen or heard of anywhere. O thief, having stolen my wealth, my honor, my senses, my life, and my everything, where can you run to? I have caught you with the rope of my devotion. You cut the terrible noose of Yamaraj. You sever the dreadful noose of material existence, and you slash everyone's material bondage, but you are unable to cut the knot fastened by your own loving devotees. O stealer of everything, O thief, today I have imprisoned you in the miserable prison house of my heart, which is very fearful due to the terrible darkness of my ignorance, and therefore a very long time you will remain, receiving appropriate punishment for your crime of thievery. O Krishna, thief of my everything, the noose of my devotion remaining forever tight, you will continue to reside in the prison house of my heart, because I will not release you for a million of eons. This Ashtaka is recited in the poetic meter known as Upajati. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Aarti Mataji. Yes, yeah, of course, this meter, we can sing these prayers in multiple meters. Yesterday, we sang in Upajati, and today was a different one, but that is what Krishna gives us. He gives us all the rasas, all the different tastes, right? So that's why Prahlad Maharaj as pure devotees, Srila Prabhupada as a pure devotee, and they give us so many different methods again from our Vedic scriptures, the Navada Bhakti, because somebody is interested in hearing attentively, like Prabhupada was when he was going to his Guru Maharaj in Calcutta, and his Guru Maharaj told him, right, this boy likes to hear attentively, so one day he will preach enthusiastically. So that is how. So somebody likes to hear, somebody likes to sing, somebody likes to worship the deities, offer prayers, somebody likes to do Padasevanam, going to the temples and taking darshan of the deities. Right? So that gulab jamun, if somebody gives you gulab jamun 4, 5, 10, after 10 you will say, okay, bhai, bas so gaya, now I don't want any more. Right? So, but in devotional service also, yes, so you have all these different limbs of bhakti. So anyway, so similarly, these wonderful prayers, also we have so many different meters that we can sing them in. And yes, Krishna is so kind that even though our house is like our heart is like a prison, so dark and dungy, without any light, with so much of darkness and ignorance, still he comes there if we have a sincere heart, because just by taking the holy names we enlighten our hearts, and then the Lord appears. And before the Lord appears, his pure devotee appears, which is in the form of representative of the Lord as Shri Guru, like Balaramji appeared last week when we celebrated, and this week Krishna will appear. Okay, so let's continue Srila Prabhupada Leelamrit. Thank you once again to both of you for wonderful recitation and translation. Yes, so Prabhupada Leelamrit we saw yesterday. We were on chapter 31, we concluded, which was threat against ISKCON, and yes, Prabhupada, so many wonderful teachings from that chapter of how we should not offend Vaishnavas, we should not offend our Guru, right? So we should not concoct our own ideas of religion or our own ideas of worship, right? Everything has been given in the Guru Parampara by our Acharyas. We have to just follow it as it is. That's why Prabhupada named Bhagavad Gita as it is. So he was very upset when his disciples were not able to perform Vyasa Puja, which is the birthday of the spiritual master, in accordance to the parampara, just offering pushparati, singing Guru Ashtakam, but they were not able to do that basic thing, so he was upset. But again, he also sends letters to other devotees all over the world, right, in Germany, in New Vrindavan, because there was kind of a pale of gloom, cloud of uncertainty, cloud of anarthas that was coming up, and devotees there were feeling down. But when Prabhupada sent them the letter to New Vrindavan, to Germany, everybody became enlightened, everybody became so happy and blissful that Prabhupada had not left them. Physically, it may appear that he left them, but he told them again and again the same mood and mission we are seeing. The mood of Prabhupada is always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna, right? And mission is, his vision is to see all of us becoming pure devotees. And the mission through which we accomplish that is by following the regulative sadhana. So these are the nine limbs of bhakti, 9 processes of bhakti. That's what Prabhupada and all predecessor acharyas have taught us. So he says again and again, this theme is coming up again and again, that physically, acharyas may leave, but actually they don't leave. They're always there with us in the form of their instructions. So by reading these books, that's what Prabhupada told them yesterday, just read. He has given them everything, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. They just had to read. And when they started reading it, then their doubts were getting cleared and they were actually understanding what Prabhupada really meant for them. So that is the mood. So acharyas leave, but only leave physically. It's not that they have left. Yeah. Once a reporter also asked Prabhupada, so what will happen, Swamiji, to your movement after you are gone? And even before she finished the statement, he said, I will never be gone. I will always be there in the form of my instructions, in the form of my books. So he truly lives by his instructions, by his divine instructions. Okay, so let's continue chapter 32. Yeah, and of course, Prabhupada is now traveling back along the way we saw. He's in Japan right now. He celebrated Janmashtami there, and then Vyasa Puja, which is Nandotsav. The next day after Janmashtami is actually Prabhupada's appearance day. He came into this world on Nandotsav, which is the day after Janmashtami. So both of those were celebrated. And one nice thing we saw about people in Japan, Prabhupada liked that the people in Japan were very nice. And like we have discussed in the past, even the name of Japan itself has Japan inside it. So that shows again, when we do our japa nicely, then all the good qualities come. So people of Japan had all good qualities. Prabhupada was very happy to see them. All of them who came, even the executives of the corporation, Dai Nippon, which is a very prestigious company, they came, they were standing there in front of Prabhupada. They bowed down and Prabhupada went for walks. He liked the layout, he liked the natural beauty, and people and women who were passing by, they knew he was a saintly man, holy man, and they were bowing down. So we just see, in Asian culture, they respect saintly people. And even the company, they were printing, even though they didn't understand English much, but they knew that this was a great literature. So they came, with full respect, they offered Prabhupada an apartment, they gave him car. So all of these, these are very nice qualities, right? Very qualities in mode of goodness. And how did those come? They had not seen Prabhupada before. But again, maybe that is Krishna's grace. The name of Japan itself has japa in it. So when you do japa, when you take the holy names of the Lord, then all good qualities come automatically. Okay, chapter 32, India dancing white elephants. So Prabhupada is finally reaching India now with his sannyasi disciples. Calcutta, August 29, 1970. For the first time in almost 3 years, Prabhupada returned to India, to Calcutta, his hometown. Although it was late and the journey from Tokyo had been 12 hours, Prabhupada felt happy as he descended the stairway from the airplane. Achyutananda and Jayapataka, his only American disciples in India, were standing on the airfield, and as they saw him approaching in his saffron silk robes, they bowed down. Prabhupada smiled and embraced them. They ushered him to a flower-bedecked car and accompanied him to the terminal building, where he entered the VIP lounge. Some of Prabhupada's godbrothers and old Calcutta friends were present to receive him, and a kirtan party from the Chaitanya Mutt was chanting. The reception was large and festive. As the room resounded with Hare Krishna, Prabhupada took his seat. The sound of the Kirtana, the many pictures of Krishna, and the smell of incense and jasmine flowers combined with Prabhupada's transcendental presence to transform the drab airport into a heavenly scene. Indians crowded forward to place flower garlands around Prabhupada's neck, and as the garlands piled higher, Prabhupada removed them. But the garlands kept coming, and again they piled up, almost covering Prabhupada's face. The American devotees watched in fascination as the Bengali brahmacharis played their mridangas with exotic rhythms. The people in the crowd pressed in closer to touch Prabhupada's feet and ask his blessings, and Prabhupada smiled, seeming quiet at home. When the Kirtana ended, he began to speak. I am coming back to the city after 3 years. Hare Krishna. I have been around the world and have found that happiness and peace cannot be established in this world by materialistic advancement. I have seen Japan, which is highly advanced in machines and technology, yet there is no real happiness there. But the people of India, even if they do not understand the significance of Sankirtan, they enjoy listening to it. My advice to the Indians is that if you advance only in science and technology without paying attention to Hari Nam, then you will remain forever backward. There is tremendous strength in Hari Nam. Reporter: You have said, and I quote, even communism, if it is without Krishna Nam, is void. Why do you say that? Prabhupada: Why do you refer to communism in particular? Without Krishna consciousness, everything is void. Whatever you do, Krishna must remain in the center. Whether you are communist or capitalist or anything else, it doesn't matter. We want to see whether your activities are centered around Krishna. Reporter: Right now there is too much turmoil in Bengal. What is your advice to us at this time? Prabhupada: My advice is to chant Hare Krishna. This is the piece of advice to both the capitalists and the communists. All animosity between them will cease completely and all their problems will be solved if they take this advice. The crowd, affirming Prabhupada's words, began to shout, Sadhu, Sadhu. Prabhupada sat in the back seat on his way from the airport to the home of Mr. Das Gupta on Hindustan Road. Outside the car window, the familiar scenes of Calcutta passed by. For the newcomers riding with him, however, Calcutta was foreign and unfamiliar. Gaunt, loitering cows and street dogs, small horses pulling huge loads, barefoot rickshawalas, open shops with exotic foods, dense crowds of pedestrians, the sultry heat and the incredible traffic, these, although familiar to Prabhupada, plunged the disciples who had flown with him into culture shock. Tamal Krishna looked nervously at the driver, who swerved in and out of traffic, honking his horn. Prabhupada laughed softly. Tamal Krishna, how do you like this driving? Achyutananda and Jayapataka, however, were acclimatized to Calcutta and had learned to appreciate its culture. They had met high-class cultured Bengalis who accepted them as sadhus despite their American birth. They had preached in many homes and had attracted curious crowds by chanting in public. They had not, however, achieved a solid foothold for ISKCON. But now Prabhupada had come to change that. He would preach wonderfully, just as he had done in America, and his disciples were eager to serve as his instruments. He would be their vital force, their inspiration, for he was empowered by Lord Chaitanya. Prabhupada reached the home of Mr. Das Gupta at almost midnight. Many people wanted to see him, and when Devananda Maharaj tried to turn them away, Prabhupada said, No, let them come in. Prabhupada's sister, Bhavatarini, arrived with an array of special dishes she had cooked. We can't eat now, one of the sannyasis protested. It is late at night. No, Prabhupada said, we must eat everything. Whatever my sister cooks, we have to eat. This is her favorite activity. She likes to cook for me and feed me. Everyone must take prasadam. The devotees at the Chaitanya Mutt had also cooked a feast, and as Prabhupada was honoring the prasadam prepared by his sister, the prasadam from Chaitanya Mutt arrived. He took a little and induced his followers to eat sumptuously. It was 1 a.m. Prabhupada sat in his room with Achyutananda, Jayapataka and Devananda Maharaj. He explained how irresponsible letters from his disciples in India had perpetrated within ISKCON a deep misunderstanding of the spiritual master's position. He quoted the verse, Sakshat Dharitvena Samasta Shastrair, and explained it. The Guru is on an equal level with Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is not God, but he is the dearmost servant of God. Prabhupada continued preaching to his disciples, clearing away any misconceptions about the spiritual master's position. All the past unpleasant events, he said, were now being rectified. The devotees should continue working together with new life and vigor. Achyutananda asked Prabhupada if he could take sannyas. The Indians, he said, would respect a sannyasi more. Prabhupada agreed that sannyas would help Achyutananda's preaching, and he said that Jayapataka should also take sannyas. The ceremony would be in a week, on Radhashtami. The Amrita Bazar Patrika carried a front page news story of Prabhupada's arrival. A photo showed Prabhupada walking with his hand in his bead bag, surrounded by young sannyasis carrying dandas. Many VIPs have come to Dum Airport before, but never have we seen gaiety and celebrations of this magnitude. It was difficult to imagine that he was 75 years old because he was completely fresh after his long journey. With a little smile on his face, he blessed one and all with the word Hari Bol. Prabhupada wrote to devotees in Japan. In India, from the very moment we stepped down from the airplane, there is good propaganda work going on. The boy Bruce is improving and becoming more interested. He has now sacrificed his hairs for Krishna. That is a good sign. Calcutta was in political turmoil. A group of communist terrorists, the Naxalites, had been rioting, murdering prominent businessmen and threatening the lives of many others. Many wealthy Marwadi industrialists were leaving the city for Delhi and Bombay. Aside from the terrorists, Bengali college students were growing unruly, but the older people of West Bengal, comprising most of Prabhupada's visitors, were alarmed by the violence and unrest. The only shelter, Prabhupada told them, was Krishna. People are in very much perturbed conditions. All of them are expecting me to do something for ameliorating the situation, but I am simply advising them to chant Hare Krishna, because this transcendental sound is the only panacea for all material diseases. Prabhupada saw no need to fabricate a special program for the social problems of Calcutta. Chanting Hare Krishna was the only panacea for all material diseases. The question was how best to use his American disciples to give this panacea to the Indians. Prabhupada had his party of 10 devotees, and he had asked his leaders in the West for 20 more within 1 month. He had ordered $60,000 worth of books and magazines from Dai Nippon, and his sannyasis were going daily into the streets to perform Sankirtan. The Sankirtan party was getting a good response. Shaven-headed Westerners wearing shikas, Vaishnava tilak, and saffron robes, playing kartals and mridangas, chanting Hare Krishna with heart and soul, quoting Sanskrit verses from the Bhagavad Gita, affirming Lord Krishna to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For the Bengalis, this was sensational, and hundreds would gather to watch. Prabhupada knew the great appeal his disciples would have. Everyone would want to see them. He therefore affectionately called them his dancing white elephants. These same devotees who had grown to love chanting Hare Krishna in the streets of San Francisco, Los Angeles, and New York were now going into an exhausting heat never encountered in America and chanting on Dalhousie Square for several hours daily. Crowds would press in closely, sometimes teasing, laughing, or scoffing, but more often looking on with deep amazement. Prabhupada's idea was that when Indians saw young Western people adopting the principles of Krishna consciousness, the faith of the Indians in their own culture would increase. Prabhupada explained to his disciples how formerly, during the time of Maharaj Yudhishthir, India had been a Krishna conscious state. For the last 1,000 years, however, India had been under foreign subjugation, first under the Mughals and then under the British. As a result, the intelligentsia and to a lesser degree the masses of India had lost respect for their own culture. They were now pursuing the materialistic goals of the West, and they saw this as more productive and more practical than religion, which was only sentimental. Westerners living as renounced Vaishnavas could, as Prabhupada was well aware, turn the heads and hearts of the Indians and help them regain faith in their own lost culture. It was not a material tactic, however, but a spiritual strength. Prabhupada stressed that the devotees must be pure in their actions. This purity would be their force. The chanting in Dalhousie Square and along Chaurangi had gone on for about 10 days when Prabhupada decided to stop it. The street kirtana, although an excellent method of preaching, was not the most effective method for India, he said. There were many professional kirtana groups in Bengal, and Prabhupada didn't want his disciples to be seen like that, as professional performers or beggars. He wanted them to preach in a way that would bring them closer to the more intelligent, respectable Indians, and he unfolded his new plan. He called it life membership. His disciples would invite Indians interested in supporting and associating with ISKCON to become members. A membership fee of 1,111 rupees would entitle the member to many benefits, such as copies of Srila Prabhupada's books and free accommodation in ISKCON centers around the world. Speaking one evening in a private home before a group of wealthy businessmen, Prabhupada initiated his life membership program. After lecturing, he invited his audience to become life members, and several Calcutta merchants immediately signed. B.L. Jaju: I was really overwhelmed by the simplicity of Prabhupada's nature. He told me how he had been carrying on his regular business when his guru had told him that 400 years back Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had said that Hare Rama, Hare Krishna would be chanted all throughout the world. He said that that was the job given to him by his spiritual master, and that he would have to go to America and do it. I found no snobbery in him. He was very simple, and he was telling, as if my brother was telling to me, simply how he went to USA, how he started, and how gradually he planned to have this Krishna consciousness throughout the world. Seeing his disciples who had changed their lives, I began to think, why not I? In my humble way, I should do something without worrying what other people are doing. I found that imperceptibly he was affecting my life. My wife and even my son were really surprised when they found that these white people, whom we thought could never turn to Krishna consciousness, had changed so much. So we thought we also must try to follow better the teaching of the Gita. Whether at a life member's home or at a formal lecture before a large audience or in his own room, Prabhupada continued speaking from the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam about Krishna and Krishna consciousness. Of this, he never tired. A guest would ask a question and Prabhupada would begin his answer by having one of his disciples read a relevant verse from the Gita. Then he would explain it. If the guest was unsubmissive and wanted to challenge, Prabhupada would argue. Sitting at his low desk, occasionally drinking water from his lota, Prabhupada would talk after hour. The temperature rose to 100 degrees, and as Prabhupada sat in his room preaching, he wore no shirt, only a simple top cloth, which left his arms, shoulders, and part of his chest bare. Sometimes the devotees sitting with him would be sick or sleepy or otherwise inattentive, and sometimes they would excuse themselves, returning hours later to find him still preaching. Guests also came and went, yet except for a nap after lunch, Prabhupada kept preaching, often throughout the day and into the night. Never bored with his subject matter, he would speak as long as there was an interested hearer. Okay, I think we'll pause here, 6:28. We'll continue from here tomorrow. Okay, yes, so wonderful. Prabhupada is back home. Of course, for him, wherever there is Krishna Katha, where there's holy names chanted, that is home, that is the spiritual home, that is Goloka, where Lord comes, where his pure devotees like Narad Muni, Hanumanji, they all reside, where there is glories of the Lord being sung or recited. So similarly for Prabhupada, physically, yes, he is back in his home in India, but for him, wherever he is, it is Vaikuntha, because the Lord is always there with him. We can have somebody close to us, maybe 1 foot away, or even like close to our face, that is the closest that somebody can get, or that somebody can embrace us, that is the closest. But the Lord who is sitting in our heart, who can be more closer than him? He is there in our heart, not just in this life, for millions and millions of lifetimes. And for one who is a pure devotee, who has seen the Lord in his heart, he is never separated from the Lord. So for Prabhupada, even though physically now he's back in India and he's happy to be back, physically, it shows Prabhupada's maturity. Even though he's a sannyasi, the love that he has, you see the love for his sister. He says, this is what my sister loves to do. So he appreciates the service that she is cooking for him every time. Last time also when he visited in 1967, 68 during his heart attack, he so lovingly and affectionately met all his family members, and he reciprocated with them through his discussions and his love for them, and eating the prasadam that they had cooked for him. So again, all these small things teach us a lot about the person that he was, because what you have inside is what you give, right? And he was fully imbued with love of the Lord, love of God. And when that purity is there and that love is there in your heart, and that is overflowing when you do japa, when you do kirtan, that overflows. What you have in your heart because he has just dedicated his life, and all that love that is there in the heart, only love will come out, right? So that's why we say when we have this concentrated devotional service, Prabhupada used to say, when your glass is full of milk, there's no room to add water, right? So that was the example he used to give about Maya. When your heart is full with Krishna, because where there is Krishna, there is no Maya. Jahan Krishna, tahan nahi Maya radhikar. Because Krishna has Suryasam, Maya hai Andhakar. So Krishna is like light, sunlight, and Maya is Andhakar. Just like we cannot see our shadow where the sun is there, it's only in the opposite direction. Similarly, so when our glass is full with milk, when our glass is full with Hari's names, Hari's glories, pastimes, name, form, his devotees, then there is no room to add milk, there is no room to dilute, because it's fully concentrated with love. And that is what he had in his heart, and that is what he had come to give back to people in India who had forgotten their own culture. Not everything of their own fault, but because of the subjugation of external forces like Mughals and Britishers who had come not just to destroy the wealth, but actually they had come to destroy the culture of India. But even if there is one pure devotee, like Prabhupada says, even one Prahlad Maharaj born in an Asuric family can transform everybody. So that is the power, that is the purity of a pure devotee, that even one devotee, like Prabhupada says, even if within ISKCON also there are sannyasis who are misguided, who have gone down the impersonalist philosophy, if there is one pure devotee, then our movement will continue to go on as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu predicted. So that is the purity of these wonderful Vaishnavas, like Srila Prabhupada, like Prahlad Maharaj, like Hanumanji. These are all wonderful examples that are there in our scriptures that we can take inspiration from. And even what we live today, we have, like I was saying yesterday in the evening reading, we have so many practical examples of Srila Prabhupada's disciples. We see how they carried on his mission, being true to his instructions, and not like they cooperated with each other. All of things, like when you go to Vrindavan temple, we have Prabhupada house. Through their cooperation, they have kept everything together. They kept all of Prabhupada's things there, things that Prabhupada used, his pen, his desk, his glasses, his books, all the tadiya, we call all the instruments or things used by Prabhupada. It's so nice when you go there and you take darshan, when we sit there and we chant, we are actually associating with Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada is present there forever, for eternity, and the samadhi is also there. So whenever we go to these samadhis of pure devotees, their presence is there. Hare Krishna. Okay. Anything else? Anybody else would like to share from today's reading? Yes, Meenu Mataji. Nalan Prabhu, wonderful. Welcome back. So nice. You went to India, Jagannath Puri, so you were there physically.
Yeah, Hare Krishna project.
Hare Krishna.
Slowly our jet lag is going away. So thought of joining today.
Good.
And this interesting today's session is like, if your heart is full of Krishna, right? So it is so easy, nor like to spread the Krishna consciousness everywhere. So that is what the strength we need to develop in our heart. Like Srila Prabhupada did that. Because nowadays accepting anything with different culture, different belief, and accepting Krishna is the God, Supreme Lord in other country like Japan, it's quite difficult, but the great devotees can do that like Srila Prabhupada. So we have to learn how we have to spread Krishna consciousness in everyone's hearts, not only, even here Indians haven't have that much of us, belief that Krishna is only the Supreme Lord. Those who are not part of ISKCON. So that kind of strength we also need here also. So that's what I learned from today's session.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, and if you are sincere seeker, then the Lord is, like I said, He's the closest. He is your best friend. He is seated in the heart. Nobody else is more close, can be, has ever been, is or will ever be closer than the Lord, because He is there in our heart. If we are sincerely seeking the ultimate truth, then He will guide, He reciprocates, He will orchestrate things, He will bring people in your life from that perspective. Even if you are worshipping Durga, even if you are worshipping any God who is close to our heart, they are pure devotees. They will guide you. Krishna is there in our heart. He will guide you. So ultimately, if we are really seeking, then you don't have to worry. The only currency that we need is eagerness, the sincerity. And when we have that currency, then we can purchase the Lord. He Himself, we cannot purchase Him, but He Himself becomes purchased. Right? He says, Krishna says, Maya aham bhakta paradhino. I am under the control of my devotees. That's why Yashoda Maya is able to bind him, with a rope. That rope is the rope of devotion. Nobody can bind Krishna, but Krishna agrees to be bound by the rope of devotion when you have pure devotion. So, yeah. And you said, in India, of course, things changed after the Britishers, but again, thanks to some pure devotees, even if there is one pure devotee on earth, and that is why earth is kind of Bhumi Devi, like we saw in that movie, Prahlad Maharaj Narsimha movie. Earth Bhumi Devi gets kidnapped by the demons, but the Lord always comes to protect her. And there are pure devotees like Prahlad Maharaj. One pure devotee can transform the whole world. So
Yes.
Mahaprabhu had predicted this. And of course, when you went to India, like Radha Damodar temple, my Prabhupada used to sit and write, and he used to sing it in his room and pray and eat prasadam and look at Rupa Goswami Samadhi. Rupa Goswami, Prabhupada says actually later on that actually Rupa Goswami came and gave him darshan. And Rupa Goswami told him, Abhay Babu, you go preach. Because he was begging them that please empower me, that I can fulfill the instructions of my Guru Maharaj. And Rupa Goswami blessed him. He said, we all, the Goswamis, our blessings are with you. Don't be afraid. Go and strongly and boldly preach in the Western world, and we will guarantee the results. So that is why we see that power, that empowerment that he had was from the predecessor acharyas, going all the way up to the Lord. So because of that empowerment, he was able to do what he was able to do, not just in America, Europe, but even all the countries across the world like Japan. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. We look forward to seeing you more again, you and Mataji. Hope you recover completely from your jet lag, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Okay, thank you so much, dear devotees, for your kind association. We'll end here with Vaishnava Pranam prayers, thanking all our acharyas and each other and all the Vaishnavas around the world, because everybody is our Shiksha Guru. We learn so much from each other, from everybody around us, because Krishna teaches us through each other. So end with Vaishnava Pranam prayers. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evasya patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada Leelamrit ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari.
Hare
Hari Krishna.
Hari Bol.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.